Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this Zoom call to learn more about resources available to existing companies in Palm Beach County. My name is Kelly Smallridge, and I'm President and CEO of the Business Development Board of Palm Beach County. I'm joined by several partners, which our economic development organization works with very closely in a collaborative manner every day to assist with the expansion and retention of companies right here in our backyard. We also know that COVID-19 has caused major disruptions to businesses. Therefore, we thought that this morning's overview would be created for you so that you can see the local resources that are available to grow your business right here in Palm Beach County. At the end, we're going to allow you to ask questions live. So we ask that everyone please mute your line, and we'll start with an overview of the organization. In case you've never heard about the Business Development Board, I'd like to tell you a little bit about us, and then we'll go into a presentation by my colleague, Sean Rowan. So first slide, Kirsten. Again, if you've never heard of the Business Development Board, we are a 501c6 corporation that's been in business for longer than 35 years, a staff of about 15 located in downtown West Palm Beach. The most simplest version of our mission is to recruit, retain, and expand companies with the end goal of bringing high-quality jobs to Palm Beach County in the areas of aviation, aerospace, business financial services, communications technology, life sciences, manufacturing, distribution, logistics, and corporate headquarters. Again, high-quality jobs. We do not work on tourism, retail, or small mom and pop type of restaurant operations because we have several partners that are collaborators with us that work in those areas. Next slide. I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Sean Rowan. As I mentioned, our core focus is to bring jobs to this area, and we do it by not only marketing Palm Beach County outside of the state of Florida, but we have an equal amount of focus on growing companies like yours right here in our backyard. Here with us this morning is Sean Rowan, who is the Vice President of Business Recruitment, Retention, and Expansion for the Business Development Board. And he's going to share with you some state resources that are available in the event that your company is creating new jobs in Palm Beach County. Sean?
Thank you, Kelly, and good morning, everyone. So I'm going to go through some incentive programs that are available to companies that are expanding in Palm Beach County that are existing. First, I'm going to give you an overview of incentives that are available for what we call competitive projects or inducement-based projects. A lot of existing companies don't necessarily meet these criteria, but some do. So that's why I'm going to go over them, and I'm going to go over them briefly. And then I'll go over the incentives and services that we can assist you with if you're expanding and you don't fall in that competitive or inducement-based set of projects. So first, the inducement-based incentives. Now, these are financial incentives that are for what we call inducement-based or competitive projects, meaning that if you're an existing company and you're going through an expansion, that expansion that you're doing would have to take, or would not have to, but would be considered outside of the county and outside of the state of Florida. So let's say you're adding, 50 new employees and you're thinking about adding that at a site in, let's say, Texas, or you can add on to where you're at here in Palm Beach County. If that's the case, these types of incentives could potentially come into play for your project. First, at the state level, for the inducement-based incentives, the primary incentive that the state's using now for competitive projects is called the Capital Investment Tax Credit. This is a program that's available for very large projects. To be eligible for this, you have to be creating at least 100 new jobs with the expansion over a 3 to 5 year period. And you have to be investing at least $25 million in capital investment for that project. If you meet those two criteria, you also then have to fall within what's called a high impact sector of the targeted industries. And that would be certain aspects of financial services, corporate headquarters, life sciences, certain transportation, equipment manufacturing, and semiconductors and clean energy. So that's a program that not very many projects actually end up qualifying for, but it's there. At the local level, both county and city levels, we have, there are some incentive programs available again for these competitive or inducement-based projects. First, the county has, Palm Beach County has both a job growth incentive fund and an ad valorem tax exemption. The job growth incentive fund is for projects that are, it's job growth based. You have to create at least 25 new jobs, and it has to be in a targeted industry. And that job creation has to be over a period of 3 to 5 years, and that is again for a competitive project. Also, certain municipalities have very similar job growth incentive funds and programs available. So in addition to the county, there are municipalities, specifically Boca Raton, Palm Beach Gardens, Town of Jupiter, and the city of West Palm Beach that have those types of programs. And again, those are all based on job creation. So you have to be creating at least 25 new jobs. You have to have an average wage for those new jobs of at least 115% of the county average wage. And it has to be within a targeted industry. And Kelly went through the targeted industries already. If you're manufacturing, chances are you're going to be within a targeted industry. So that's the good news. And then, as I mentioned, also there's the ad valorem tax exemption. The county has that, and a couple of municipalities within Palm Beach County have ad valorem tax exemptions as well. Palm Beach Gardens, City of West Palm Beach have ad valorem tax exemption in addition to the county. And what that is if you're creating for a manufacturer and you're an existing business, you have to be creating at least 10 new jobs. And then you have to, and those have to be manufacturing jobs. And you have to be greatly increasing the value of the site. So typically this is really only applicable to projects that are doing build to suit type greenfield projects, or projects that have massive amounts of capital investment into equipment, because this also applies towards tangible personal property. So if you're doing an expansion, but you're not doing any major improvements to your existing site, or you're not adding a lot of expensive equipment, this program really is not going to come into play either. So that's a brief overview of the inducement incentives. So now I'll go to the incentives that are pretty much available to most projects for existing companies and services that we provide to all of the companies that within our targeted industries. At the state level, the state does have reimbursement training grants available. They have these available for companies that are either wanting to train existing employees, and that's called the Incumbent Worker Training Grant, or companies that are expanding and are creating new jobs through that expansion and need to train those new jobs, and that would be called Florida Flex or the Quick Response Training. Incumbent Worker Training Program can pretty much cover almost any type of training that needs to be done, as long as it can be completed within a year, and there has to be some kind of certification that goes along with that to prove that the training has been completed. This is for companies that are looking to train existing employees, and that employee has to be employed by the company in the state of Florida for at least 6 months before they can qualify for this type of training. And it is a reimbursement training grant. So what the state does is reimburses the company up to 50% of the eligible training costs incurred by the company for that training. And there are certain things that are considered eligible training costs and certain things that are not. And then if the company is a very small company, the state can actually reimburse more than 50%. The other program, the Florida Flex or QRT program, Quick Response Training, is for, as I mentioned, jobs that are created through an expansion or a relocation, but in this case, we'll just talk about expansion, that is requires customizable training. So it'd either be like they say it's training that's not readily available in the local marketplace. So you can't use it to send people to like Palm Beach State College to take an Excel course or something. It has to be either your proprietary in-house training or training that you have to bring somebody from outside the area to provide, or that you have to send your employees to go take. And just like the incumbent worker training, it covers 50%, it reimburses 50% of the eligible training costs. And then the state also has sales and use tax exemptions for manufacturers on manufacturing equipment and on the electricity used in the manufacturing process. So then at a local level, we can help you with, if you're expanding, we can help you find real estates. We can help you find the site that you need if you've grown to capacity and you need new space, we can help you find that. And what's most important, and what a lot of companies really like to take advantage of, is we can assist you with expedited permitting. Now, 15 municipalities plus Palm Beach County have expedited permitting processes. And if you're a project of the BDB, you can go through the BDB to get expedited permitting. Now, a lot of companies may not think that their small expansion may require a permit, but in a lot of cases it does. Building permits are required for many different things. So we can help you get those permits faster. So with that, I'm going to end my portion. Like I said, I would want to give a brief overview. I'm always available, and if you have any questions on any of these programs that I covered or any of our services, please let me know.
Sean, thank you so much. So I see a lot of attorneys and accountants as well as manufacturing operations on this call. Let me just summarize and give you a little bit of advice regarding these incentives. I think it's most important that you come to the Business Development Board in the early stages of your expansion and retention project. Because if you decide to create the jobs and expand and then come back to us and ask for incentives, it is no longer an incentive, it's an entitlement. And there are no entitlements in Palm Beach County. So it's really important to come early on so we can evaluate and comprehensively assess city, county, and state resources and work with our partners that are on this call from day one and not when you've already moved into your building. Next, we have a great partner of the Business Development Board. We have Mary Weimer, who's the business manager for the Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability for Palm Beach County, who's going to talk about county resources and programs of financial assistance. Mary?
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Sean. Hi, everybody on call. Thank you so much for having me here. As Kelly mentioned, my name is Mary Weimer. I'm the business manager here for Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability. I will briefly go over some of our programs, and hopefully we can help any of your businesses, since we have a lot of accountants in here and attorneys and other partners that are online. Next slide, please. Our objectives and purposes, as Kelly mentioned, is job creation, stimulating the economy by increasing the investment in Palm Beach County. We do this through a variety of programs, which is the loan program. We have bonds, technical assistance, and all the success we have had so far is in collaboration with and partnering with nonprofits such as BDB and other agencies. We would like to see or increase our Palm Beach County tax base, and we are very focused on revitalizing the disadvantaged areas in Palm Beach County, such as the Glades areas. Next, please. As I mentioned on the prior slides, some of our programs that will help businesses in Palm Beach County, which they are from a small business to a larger mid-sized businesses, through our loan programs. Our loan programs are federal loan programs, so they're through federal dollars. And as you see, they are Section 108, USDA, EPA, energy, microloans via CDBG, and we are partnered with a CDC, which we work with SBA 504 loans and debt refinancing. We have bonds, partnership with technical assistance provider that will provide other services. regional collaboration, we have in our website information about the opportunity zones and urban job tax credits. Next. Our loan program is one of our best programs here because the rates are very low and the term is their long term. So it's very beneficial for businesses in Palm Beach County. We do not finance the whole project, but we do the gap financing. We are subordinated to banks and SBA. If a business is lacking that dollar amount to complete their total project cost, then that's when Palm Beach County will step in with our programs. We assist in areas and local communities which they're in distress and it's harder to for businesses to invest in those areas. So we go above and beyond to help these businesses in such areas with putting a project together via financing and leveraging with other banks and SBA. Next. Our loan programs can use for the following activities. It's real estate acquisition, construction, renovation, machinery equipment, FF&E, working capital, environmental cleanup, and energy retrofit. We have done a lot of business. We have worked with a lot of businesses. We've provided financing for a lot of businesses. And the hardest part to finance in a project is the working capital because as we know, banks and SBA, they like to take real estate portion of it or machinery equipment, which is well secured compared to working capital. So majority of time, our portion goes to working capital. I would like to talk to a little bit, just briefly, about one of our project, which is one of our best project called Oxygen Development. It's a local manufacturing company here in Palm Springs. They are leader in their development. They make high quality color cosmetics, and they outsource partners. They've outsourced partners in globally. In this case, the total project cost, if you see in the bottom line, is $23,279,000. You see all the capital stack. So it's made of bank portion of 11 million, SBA for Palm Beach County Section 108 loan program at 5.9 million, and owner equity 2.3. We would like to leverage all our dollars with banks and SBA and of course owner's equity. We cannot exceed 40% of total project cost. In this case, 5.9 million is not more than 40% of total project cost. In projects that exceed over $1 million, we have to take it to the Board of County Commissioners for their approval. A federal requirement for this loan is job creation. So for every $35,000 that we lend to a business, they have to create one full-time job or equivalent. In this case, Oxygen Development was supposed to create 400 jobs based on their amount, and they exceeded that amount, and they employ over 1,200 people. This is a manufacturing right here in Palm Springs in Palm Beach County, and they're doing great. And as of today, they're expanding more and more by increasing their operations. In this slide, you can see our loan achievements to date. The total investment is $102 million, and on county funds, you can see it's $27,901,000. To date, we have created 2,800 jobs and counting. You see all the sources that is leveraging. Is not only county dollars. We like to diversify our portfolio from different perspectives, financing and type of businesses. Next, please. Industrial Development Revenue Bonds, or IDBs, they provide long-term financing for capital projects at a favored interest rate. IDBs are not obligations to the county. We are just, they pass through the county. So us as a local government agency will take the to the board. We'll go to the board with project, and the board either approves it or not approves this bond. We never had a problem for Palm Beach County Board of Commissioners disapproving any of the bonds. At the time when a borrower approaches us, they have a bond counselor and also they have already an underwriter and bank that's going to buy the bond. IDB businesses are thank you. They're for expansion of firms with very strong credit. They give you long-term financing up to 40 years, and the interest rate is great. Next. As I mentioned before, our success is not only due to us here, but to our collaborations that we have with nonprofits and our incubators that help us with the following service, such as technical assistance, consulting, credit builder, security, reasonable rental space, trend analysis, internship, job opportunities. We collaborate together. If one business is lacking certain things that we cannot provide here in the department, we reach out to our partners and they will provide whatever is needed for the business to move forward. Below are the partners that we work with and we have an agreements with. It's BBIC, which offers loan guarantees, of Enterprise Florida, BDB, Center of Technology, Florida Atlantic University, etc. All of these partners that we have, they will help a business in case they're missing certain parts to complete their project. So we collaborate together to put the project. Also, some other collaboration is LAR, which stands for LAR Okeechobee Regional Economic Alliance, Treasure Cost, and Department of Economic Opportunity with State of Florida. Some additional programs and services is Opportunity Zone Interactive and Mixed Use Projects. Next. Brownfield, we have, we know what brownfields are, but we have a EPA revolving loan fund and EPA a grant cleanup. So depending on the type of a project and what it's needed based on the assessment, we can provide either one or the other, a loan fund or a cleanup. Next. On opportunity zones, we have on our website information. We are not a fund and we're not an opportunity zone investor, but on our website, you have a lot of businesses have a lot of information that talk about the program, the background itself, links to Treasury that shows all the updates, and also a link to municipality zone, municipal OZ list. Also our interactive map, it's in our website. It shows a lot of information where the opportunity zones are in Palm Beach County. Urban Job Tax Credit is one of our other incentives that is for businesses that would like to locate in one of the 13 designated areas which they have higher urban high crime. Employees have to be full-time or equivalent to full-time. We are considered tier 2 Palm Beach County. In red, you can see that for a number of employees to get the benefit is 20 minimum, and they'll get $1,000 tax credit per employees. And if it's an existing business, 10 or more, and they get $1,000 per tax credit. Over here is some of our results from our program in the last 10 years. 8.4 billion in local economy, 1.13 billion in federal and state private funding, and the job creation is approximately $17,000. And then we'll wrap up presentation. I'm sorry if I was over.
That's okay, Mary. That was a lot of great information, and we thank you for presenting information on loans, tax credits, financing. I am certain that many of the companies on this Zoom call this morning did not realize that the county had a multitude of programs to help their operations grow. So thank you so much for the partnership. Moving on to our next speaker is Michael Corbett, who is the Assistant Vice President of Business Services for CareerSource. And anytime that the Business Development Board is out there relocating or expanding companies to Palm Beach County, I like to say that CareerSource is your free HR service, whether it's screening employees, going through the right skill sets that employees need to receive a job, or doing a job fair for you. We can't begin to thank CareerSource enough for the great partnership that we have with them and for the services that they provide to our company. So Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Very good. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Sean, for having me today. It's always a pleasure to talk about what we do and share information. If you could go to the next slide, please. Okay, well, unemployment ticked up last week from 10.2% to 11.6% for the month of July. We were hoping it would continue to drop, but unfortunately still it's a challenge for all of us, and that's part of the reason I'm talking today. Next slide, please. As you can see, we are able to provide labor market information, occupational data. As Kelly said, we do a lot of recruiting for local companies. We review resumes. We try to provide qualified candidates. We're basically the HR generalist for many small to medium and sized businesses. Next slide, please. Job fairs, career expos. We love to do job fairs. Anytime you can put job candidates in front of hiring managers, good things are going to happen. These are some examples of the events that we do. Back in April, we quickly pivoted to virtual job fairs. As you can see at the bottom left, we did one with Palm Beach Tech and Boca Raton Innovation Campus. It was very successful, so every month we're leading forward. At the bottom right, you can see we're doing an event tomorrow. And at the top of that poster, you see CareerSource Palm Beach, CareerSource Broward, and CareerSource Research Coast. We are partnering with a lot of different organizations as people cross county lines to go to work. And what's great about that poster right there at the bottom, you see all these local partners. The Chambers of Commerce, Palm Beach State, the BDB, you see SBDC. We have a lot of good partners that help promote these to get out. So if you know anyone looking for a job tomorrow, please push them there. There's over 50 companies participating to date. Next slide, please. Some of the programs and services that we provide, a lot of training grants and scholarships. The on-the-job training is probably our most popular training grant. Customized training that we do for companies. You're welcome to get in touch with us for any of those types of grants. And then Sean talked about the Incumbent Worker Training Grant. The other programs we have involved are the youth and young adult programs, veterans. We have veterans to try to help veterans, their spouses and families find employment. Disabilities and special needs is a great department. We prepare those coming out of incarceration to re-enter the workforce. And then our professional placement network. A lot of really good programs that we provide. Apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. This has come into pass in the last couple of years. The Trump administration has pushed a lot of money into apprenticeships, and you can see here several of the apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship grants that we've been awarded. We collaborated with CareerSource Brevard up on the Space Coast on a couple of different grants. The maritime marine industry here in Palm Beach County, we partnered with the Research Coast, and we're just about to launch our life science pharmaceutical pre-apprenticeship grant that Robert Mino has been very instrumental in introducing us to companies. What I'm starting to see with these grants are, these are Department of Labor grants primarily, but you're seeing grant money come out from the Department of Commerce and now the Department of Education. So we're actually starting to braid grants together to do these pre-apprenticeships. And these are great industries here in Palm Beach County, obviously. Next slide, please. Some of our upcoming events. Tomorrow, the manufacturing-focused virtual job fair. Then in September, as hopefully the hotels and country clubs and restaurants begin ramping up, we will host those types of virtual job fairs. Then in October, healthcare will focus on that and life sciences. And then in November, the Veterans Paychecks for Patriots. We're hoping to do this with all the state workforce boards across Florida and have the governor come and pop in and say hello. And then November 18th, we'll do a follow-up State of the Workforce event that we did last week that was very well attended, and glad to do those types of things. And our next slide, please. Finally, just trying to help grow jobs across Palm Beach County, as Kelly mentioned earlier. I hope that was informative, and thank you for your time.
Michael, thank you. And again, to all of you on this call, CareerSource is a tremendous asset here in Palm Beach County, whether you're growing jobs or amongst this pandemic, if you've laid off employees, please send them over to CareerSource with all of the job fairs that they're holding. Certainly there are jobs out there that you may not know about, and CareerSource can certainly help place those employees, probably the best service that you could provide to them if you have to go through a layoff. Moving right along, we originally intended today's Zoom call to assist with manufacturing operations, so we wanted to let you know that we have a special MOU with the South Florida Manufacturing Association. We continue to participate with state agencies in the reshoring of manufacturing operations back to Palm Beach County and the state of Florida, and we continue to see manufacturing operations really grow. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Matt Rocco, President of the South Florida Manufacturing Association, to talk about the resources of his organization. Matt?
Kelly, sorry, I was on mute. Thank you very much for the opportunity today to you, Sean, and the BDB. My colleague Jay Hess, who is one of our business advisors from Florida Makes, is with us today. Florida Makes is our statewide manufacturing extension partnership program. Next slide, please. So just I love to show stats. Some people are amazed at the amount of manufacturers we have here. The recent data, we cover 8 counties, all the way from Monroe, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach into the Treasure Coast. So the data suggests that there are just over 6,800 manufacturers. Interestingly enough, majority of them have less than 50 employees, and really out of that stat, it really should be the majority of them have less than 25 employees. So the resources we provide to manufacturers are really important to help them grow. And we have just entered our 60th year of existence, so we've been around for quite some time here in the South Florida community. Next slide, please. So what I wanted to cover today, I wanted to make it brief but impactful. I know we have a limited amount of time here, and it's great that we have a mix of manufacturers and non-manufacturers, because some of the things I'm going to touch upon today, myself and Jay Hess, really could be some great value to a lot of our partners out there that are not manufacturers, but a lot of our client base are manufacturers. You know, how to keep adding value and resources, and that value add to your clients. I think some of the things that you're going to hear today will help you and aid you with that. A couple things I wanted to touch on that I think would be more pertinent for today. We cover a lot of areas in our membership, but a couple I want to focus on. Best practices is huge. We're a firm believer we've got to always stay relevant with our manufacturing, provide relevant content, value, programming, and a lot has been COVID lately, but as manufacturers are getting back to work, trying to get back to work, we are in the process of developing a phased-in stage recovery approach. Recently, we've done some webinars on best practices working in this virtual world. A regional approach, Kelly, that we're doing with your organization and others. We're bringing down on Thursday Mark Wilson, who's the president and CEO of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, and all of us together are having him hosting an event on where we are in the economy in South Florida. What are some trends? What are the forecasts? Where do we see business going, our economy going? So it really helps our members and others in the community really help for planning. We heard a lot about training this morning, and I wanted to harp on that because one thing that we do, myself and our business advisors, is we work with companies a lot on training, whether it's open enrollment, but importantly and most impactful are these training grants. I can't stress this enough. This is an excellent opportunity for all companies to really take advantage of the incumbent worker training program that we heard of. We work with our members together holistically. Jay's one of our business advisors. He works very intensively with our manufacturers on developing a training plan, coming together to develop that year-long training plan. But importantly, what are the next steps in these grants? So we actually write the training plan for manufacturers with their guidance. We input the information in the system for CareerSource and CareerSource Florida, and really take that heavy lift and that burden off of them. We've done a significant amount of training grants over the last few years. I mean, a significant amount, but it's a real value because the time and the effort and the energy that companies would have to do this otherwise, that burden's taken off, and we actually help them implement the training plan and stick with them. So it's a really sound resource that could help businesses, because it's not that it's hard to do these grants, it's just very time consuming and you have to know the ins and outs. So we really help them with that. Another feature that, especially for manufacturers, that they really love are plant tours. So we do a series of different plant tours at various manufacturers. It's great because our members, or manufacturers especially, can go out and learn from others. What are they doing? What are the best practices that a company is sharing? And how can we possibly implement it? So they hear from them and they see it in action. Another, I think, point of reference that I would like to share with you all today, and I'll ask Jay Hess to touch on it a little bit, but every year we do a Manufacturer of the Year award. It's nice because companies actually compete to win the award, but if they don't win, all's not lost, because the real value in this process is that, companies that are nominated, and there's been several companies every year that get nominated from Palm Beach County and win, but companies that go through this process, it's not an application and then a bunch of judges look at an application. It's actually a team of examiners. I know Michael Corbett and I think Sharina Coleman have been on the team, but it's a team of examiners that actually go out to the manufacturer's location and they assess them and they look at the impact, and they use 6 elements of Malcolm Baldrig's operational excellence process. So a company that goes through this, irrespective of they win or not, they get their feedback and their detailed assessment from the examiner. So all have some relevance to manufacturing, and it helps with continuous improvement. So there's some high value there. Again, looking at assessments, we have a safety committee, and that team actually goes out to manufacturers. Manufacturers like to pride themselves on safety. So we have a core group that will go out to a manufacturing facility, meet with whomever it is. It could be the owner if it's a smaller company, or it could be the safety manager or the safety lead in a larger company. But they actually do a walkthrough. They do a safety assessment with those manufacturers. They have a checklist of things they look for. They ask questions, they probe, but at the end, they go through a report with the company and leave that with the company, but it helps them improve upon whatever is happening, in safety. So it's some really good guidance. Another huge benefit that we wanted to share with you today is our operational impact from Florida Makes. I mentioned Florida Makes is our statewide entity. Every state has one, but ours is Florida Makes, and their goal is to grow the GDP of manufacturing in the state of Florida. We're fortunate through our relationship with Florida Makes to have business advisors, and they work with their companies holistically. It's not a one size fits all. It's based on what the company needs. And I'm going to now introduce Jay Hess to talk a little bit more of that, and I wanted to, after that, show you the impact we're having on the industry. So Jay?
Well, good morning, Matt. Thank you very much. So Florida Makes is part of the NIST MEP organization. We are the statewide industry-led partner that strengthens and measurably advances Florida's manufacturing economy. And we're certainly a partner to the SFMA and, quite frankly, to manufacturers throughout the state. But for SFMA members, we have a real privilege of operating under some very attractive rules and giving them certain benefits without cost at all. And a lot of what we do, as Matt would say, we host the Manufacturer of the Year for the SFMA. We use the Baldrige assessment, as Matthew just said, but we actually focus on 6 holistic areas for a manufacturer. The first one being enterprise assessment, Second one is business growth and development, technology acceleration, export and international market development, workforce training and development, as we've spoken so much about today, supply chain optimizations, process improvement, and sustainability, or if you will, green initiatives. But the bottom line is we're a very holistic organization. We're not your typical consultancy for manufacturing. We don't walk in with a solution for a problem you don't have. We kind of look for your business, and we honestly have the privilege, because of our work with the SFMA, of working with manufacturers often at no cost at all. And that's pretty much our model to try and drive through. We are funded by the NIST MEP, which, as I think Michael spoke to, is actually comes from the Department of Commerce in terms of some of our funding. So I think that's kind of what we do. A good example of someone local, Palm Beach, that we did is a group called Anton Parr. It's easier to speak to examples than it is to tout what we do, but we worked with them a number of times already. They are and happen to be a member of the SFMA. We worked on some operational assessments, which we use the same Baldrige assessment process. We also looked at some alternate material processing to improve their first pass yields. They manufacture laboratory equipment. And we found some issues on supply chain that we're working on still. And we kind of changed some of the key process indicators that they were looking at as they were refocusing their efforts. So it kind of becomes that holistic solution. We really don't have a specific tool for every solution, if you follow that analogy. And that's it, Matt.
Great, thank you. And if you could turn to the next slide. I just want to end on this note. This is based on 76 companies that we've helped in some fashion or another. But look at the average total impact per company is over $12 million. And that is a huge impact to manufacturers. Our mission, again, is to serve manufacturers holistically. This is just one huge benefit that is, eye-opening to a lot of people. Kelly, Sean, and the BDB team, thank you for allowing us. There's a lot more we could cover, but we wanted to touch upon just a couple things that we thought would be relevant. We'd love to talk to anybody, after today. I know, Kelly, you're going to give our contact information out there to some folks, but again, we're here to serve the manufacturing community. So thank you again.
Great, thank you, Matt and Jay. Again, the purpose of today's presentation was to do exactly what Matt and Jay said, and that is to provide you with a holistic overview of all the resources that are available, whether you're manufacturing or you're any other type of cluster industry. We wanted you to have the contacts that you see on the screen and feel comfortable reaching out to us. I also wanted to let you know that sometimes it's hard to figure out what agency to contact, and the Business Development Board serves as almost like a traffic controller. If you reach out to our office, specifically Sean Rowan, a direct line is 561-651-4108. Sean can assess your needs and then bring in the partners that we exposed you to on today's Zoom call. So now I'm going to go into Q&A and ask that if you have a question, please unmute your line. I see there are two questions that have been chatted in. Let me start with the first one, which is either for Michael Corbett or for Sean Rowan. And the question is regarding the incumbent worker training, what are the certifying agency requirements? For example, state, academic, national, etc. So Michael or Sean?
Sure. The Incumbent Worker Training Grant is administered by CareerSource Florida, the state of Florida, and many times they're looking for certified educational institutions such as FAU or Palm Beach State College or Kaiser University, the technical schools and so forth, as long as it leads to a certified credential, something that is stackable, that will probably lead to a wage increase. Sean, if you want to add on to that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, Mike. I mean, that's basically what I was going to say, is that they look for the training to come from some type of accredited training institute, whether it's Palm Beach State College or FAU, like Michael said, or there's some for like computer type training. There are some computer places that have gotten certified through Florida, CareerSource Florida, to provide that kind of training. So basically, like Michael said, it has to have some kind of true credential attached to it, and that training has to be completed within a year.
Thank you both for answering that question. Second question is for Sean. Can you elaborate on the timing for expedited permitting and how a company goes about receiving that service?
Sure. The best way to get that service, as Kelly mentioned, is to come to the BDB as early as possible. So coming to us before you even have your plans is good. Now, we can't really do much when you don't have plans, but at least we can get the process started. And basically, you would come to us and let us know, where you're at as far as like where the building is, what you're needing to, what you're wanting to do. And then we would, once you have a set of draft plans, your construction team, we would schedule what's called a pre-app meeting or a pre-application meeting with the appropriate agencies, whether it's the county or one of the 15 municipalities that have an expedited process, in order for you and your team to meet with all of the people within that specific agencies. All the people that will be touching your application will be there, and they will be able to review your draft plans that you have before submitting your application, and they'll tell you what you need to do to make that application smoother once you actually do submit the drawing. So they'll look at your drawings, they'll say, well, you actually need a fire hydrant here or fire suppression here, not over here. And, they'll go through it like that. And once we've had that meeting, then they'll assign, a specific contact for you within that planning, zoning, and building department. And it will be earmarked as a BDB expedited project. And basically it goes to the top of the pile.
Thank you, Sean. And I would also reiterate that what Sean mentioned, you really should come to us in the very early stages prior to submitting your plans, because once you submit your plans, if we don't have the team at the city or the county available and knowledgeable that you are an expedited project, then it's a little harder to do. Next question is for Matt Rocco. Matt, not sure if you covered this already, but there was a question about, are there financial resources for manufacturing operations who want to get in the business of manufacturing protective gear for COVID?
Thank you, Kelly, for the question. So if I hear that correctly, so incentives for folks to start to manufacture PPE. I have not seen or heard of any incentives out there for companies to start that. Jay, have you? I think this has come up a few times, and we have just not seen any either governmental programs or their county or local programs anywhere in our region for that. Jay, have you seen or heard anything?
There was some early funding from the federal side, but
Yeah.
it was sort of a hurdle. You not only had to meet certain capitalization requirements, but you had to be in production within like 15 days. It was an obnoxious overload to get there. So no, I don't know of any local capital-like funding other than private funding that might, entertain a business opportunity.
Yeah. But Kelly, if there are any companies out there that are, doing some form of manufacturing that are looking to, retool, that's an area we can help with. Jay mentioned assistance from Florida Makes largely at no cost, and that's how we work with our members. So I guess indirectly there could be some advisory assistance that our members don't pay for, but to Jay's question, nothing specific to that.
Okay, thank you. And the last question I have, and again, if you would like to ask a question, please unmute or chat. But the last question I have is for Mary. Mary, someone has asked, how long does the industrial development revenue bond process take?
Okay. Well, they have to have a bond counselor, and it needs to go to the board. And before it goes to the board, it needs to be done. TEFRA hearing needs to be done. So I would like to say probably 2 months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Those were good questions. Anybody else? Okay, I would like to thank our speakers, Matt, Michael, Mary, Sean, and Jay, for being a part of this overview today to assist with existing companies as they retain and expand their operations. Again, the best advice that we have for you is to reach out to our organization if you're only going to reach out to one, and we can direct you accordingly. But we'll do a comprehensive overview of your needs, whether you're looking to retain employees or expand, and be able to direct you to the appropriate agency. Thank you so much for Zooming in today. Have a great day, and we look forward to working with all of you. And thank you to our speakers.
Thank you again, Kelly, Sean, and BDB.
Take care.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Bye-bye.